Welcome to our audience. We're going to call to order the August 11th meeting of the Bountiful City Council. Thanks for everyone's indulgence as our work session went just a little bit over, but we're now ready to begin. I have asked our city planner, Francisco Astorga, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then our thought or prayer tonight will be offered by Pete Shea, who in my life serves as a very important adopted uncle. So we'll start with Francisco.
Please rise and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Francisco. And Pete, we'll turn the time over to you.
Okay, well.
Do you want to come to the podium so we capture you on the microphone?
Okay. So I'm Pete Shea, and I live at 2045 Browns Park Drive here in Bountiful. And so today, let's have a thought instead of a prayer. How lucky are we to live here in Bountiful? And we take it for granted. I started becoming interested in how the government works around 2016. And the more I learned, the more I realized that we average citizens need to be more involved, and it's easy. You can come to the city council meeting here, you can come to Centerville, you can go to any of the neighboring cities, go to the Capitol when there's an important bill that's being presented, go meet the candidates at the Meet the Candidates meeting, maybe go to a No Kings rally, who knows? So my thought to share is get involved. We as citizens get more involved as much as you like or as little. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. So at this time, we are going to open up public comment. Bountiful City offers a public comment period at the beginning of each of our council meetings. We have 10 minutes reserved for public comment with 2 minutes per resident. If you're interested in offering public comment tonight, we'd ask that you share your name and where you live. You'll notice that we have a shot clock to help keep us on that 2-minute timeline. We ask that anyone who offers public comment to be respectful of all speakers, and just to remember that you're addressing the council, not the audience. And with that, we would turn the time over to the public for any comments you'd like to share with us tonight.
Hi,
Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Michael Christensen. I'm a resident of Syracuse City. And I just wanted to speak briefly on behalf of a small nonprofit of which I'm the director. The Go Unite nonprofit has been fostering civic engagement in Davis and Salt Lake County since 2021. In 2025, we worked with community members to pick up 95 large bags of trash from public parks. We worked with between 88 to 100 volunteers. We hosted 27 events. And we also launched our first campaign, which is a petition to stop Elon Musk or Tesla or any company from releasing humanoid robots. I can answer questions on that if you're interested, but it's a pretty strange one. Also, we've recently begun an art event called Circuit, where we invite community members to share their art for free in a kind of show and tell or potluck style fashion. Our next event for that will be held at the Syracuse Library, August 25th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. We welcome any type of creative person in the area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, for joining us and traveling from Syracuse. Is there anyone else who would like to offer comment?
Ron Mortensen, Bountiful. I just wanted to comment on a work meeting that just finished up. You know, I think in a way what you need to do is you need to totally revise the structure of governance of the district. I'd suggest that the district should have a fully independently elected board of directors that go to the public and are voted on each year, and they're held accountable by the voters for the actions of the fire district, which covers this whole area. I'd also suggest that the fire chief be responsible to the board and that they hold him accountable for running the district, the budget and everything. You know, if you look at the district back in 2004, 13, 15, it was in its infancy. It's gone through adolescence. The district's an adult now, and maybe it's time to put it out of the house and to put it on its own. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Is there anyone else that would like to offer public comment?
Gary Davis, Bountiful. Since I've done names in the past, how about one of my favorite movies, No Name Committee? Suggestion.
Thank you, Gary. We'll take that under advisement. Is there anyone else that would like to offer public comment tonight? Seeing none, we will close public comment and move onward in the agenda. The next item on the agenda is to consider minutes for meetings held on June 23rd, 2026. Council members, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes? And is anyone prepared to make a motion regarding the minutes?
I have a comment before, Mayor.
Councilmember Bell, please.
I want to confirm that something's accurate. It's on the very first page. It's down at the, I think it's line 43. Should that be the city code where it says land use code? This is where our city attorney was presenting to us the city code that we're changing. It says land use code. Should it be city code?
We will let our city attorney catch up and have a chance to
It's
look
on
at that line and
page
give us an
35 of our
answer.
packet, line 43.
Yes, it should be city code. I haven't found it yet, but it should be.
Okay, so I don't know if there's other comments, but if we make that change, I'm prepared to make a motion. So if we can change that, I'm prepared to make a motion to accept the minutes from the June 23rd city council meeting.
So what I heard was a motion from Councilmember Bell to make a change on line 43 of the first page of the minutes to clarify that it is city code, not land use code, and to also approve the minutes with that change. And I heard a second from Councilmember Higginson. All right, if everyone is clear on the motion, then we will vote the motion. All in favor of approving the minutes with the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Councilmember Marie, I do not see a member of the Bountiful City Youth Council here tonight unless I have missed them for a report. Is that correct?
Correct. They'll be more organized after our next council meeting.
That is right. Very exciting. At the next meeting in August, we will be swearing in a new BCYC City Council, so mark your calendars. We hope the same crowd will come. That will move us then on to council reports. We'll start with Councilmember Higginson. Do you have any council reports tonight?
Nothing this evening, thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Murray, do you have any council reports tonight?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Councilmember Child, and before you start your reports, I want to thank you and also your husband, Matt, for the tremendous amount of work that you, along with all of the volunteers for Handcart Days, put in to putting on just an incredible Handcart Days, 2-day festivals for us. I know it represented, I don't even know if I should say hundreds, thousands of hours of work from over 1,000 volunteers. Yeah. We got to celebrate as a community. We got to build new traditions. So thank you. Thank you very much. And please extend our thanks to Matt as well.
I will. That's kind of you. Thank you. I wanted to thank the city staff from working with the volunteers so well to make Handcart Days and all of the other festivals happen. We have parks, streets, power, public safety, all so essential in making these things happen. We're grateful for that support. I was standing with our parks director, Brock Hill, at that huge concert, hugely attended concert for Handcart Days, and we were talking about the the grass was getting a lot of use this summer. But we're feeling like it is fulfilling what it should be doing. It's improving the community well-being and providing a safe space for people to come and celebrate. So thank you, Mr. Hill. I know that is a lot of extra work for you. We sure appreciate it. We just had Summerfest, the Bountiful Davis Art Center. That was a recent, our most recent festival. And we have one more big festival coming up, and that would be the Freedom's Light Festival on, I don't know where I put that. I believe that's on September 24th. I will look that up later. I have a big poster left here for me by our concert director. I hope you can all see it.
I hope they scan the QR code.
Yes, please scan the QR code and donate. He wants me to remind people that these concerts are not free, and we appreciate all the donations possible. There will be a Toast benefit concert coming up. The cover band Toast that covers bread songs. That will be September 4th, 7 p.m., Woods Cross High School. Get your tickets now, and that supports the summer concert series. We so appreciate Richard Watson and all that he does for that. And Mayor, I also wanted to welcome the people from the library who are here today. They came to Planning Commission meeting the other day, and we're excited to discuss that tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Segura-Boyer, do you have any council reports for us tonight?
Nothing tonight. Thanks, Mayor.
And Councilmember Bell.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items. We have, I think many of you are aware, we have the Merchants Group on Main Street that meet once a month, and they strategize and things they can do to do lots of things for business, and they just are such a benefit to our city. But in our last meeting, a highlight was we're getting ready for Christmas. And we do have a date for the annual tree lighting event, which will be Monday, November the 23rd. Is the date, and with the South Davis Rec District is going to try to have the ice ribbon open that night as the grand opening. So it'll be very similar to last year in terms of the timing worked out. So we'll just pray we have a winter so we can do something with the little cooler weather. But that's when that is. I think that's a Monday night, November 23rd. Just a little bit from the South Davis Rec District, a couple things, just some notes, just things that are happening. They, for this recent handcart days, it was, they have races, and it was interesting. They had 555 participants in their races that morning, so and that was 60 more than the prior year, and so they get a lot of support, a lot of runners and walkers, I assume, and they're out there, so a lot of success there. The next big event is their Labor Day Triathlon, which is a kind of a 250th day, kind of a 250th celebration, 250th day of the year, and it'll be one of their final big events that they do for although some of their activities will continue through the end of the year, but that'll be coming up. The movie nights that they have over at our town square are now concluded. They've had 3 of those this summer, and that's been quite successful, 3 big movie nights, and there was appreciation expressed by the district for the RAP tax grants that helped fund parts of that. And so that was done. Lucky Slice was a sponsor and contributed to that, and did some things for participants or those who attended, some discounts to come over and eat. So that was great. This Davis County School District interlocal agreement. No, we're still working on it. So it is in their hands. They really, they've gone back and forth, and I won't go through all the details, but their intention still is to have that signed before, or so it's active this school year. So the next 30 days will be very eventful. There's a meeting again next week, and they've given some feedback on a couple of the suggestions in terms of just the pricing on that. And so we're waiting to hear and get a final view of that. I think the last thing I'll mention is this week is actually over the the rec center, there's a big ice skating competition. And the ice over there is in hot demand. It is being scheduled round the clock all the time at this point. It's been interesting even through the summer months, and a lot of that is hockey, but it's the Copper Cup Ice Skating Competition, and this is the 50th annual event. It's sponsored by the Utah Figure Skating Club. This is a pretty big deal over there, and so that'll be going on the 12th through the 16th. And those who are interested in that, it'll be fun to go down and see. A lot of good skilled skaters will be there. But a lot going on over there, and really, it's been a good summer. So thanks.
Thank you for that. Hope springs eternal on that agreement, and I will continue to just look forward to your next report in the hopes that, we talked earlier about board consistency, and that's a consistent theme we'd like to see completed. Council members, one of the items I wanted to put on your radar that has been a discussion at the county level and with the mayors of the other Davis County cities is an issue that's known as the fifth. This is a local option sales tax that the legislature has allowed for local governments to adopt. So the legislature has enabled it. Local governments must take then affirmative action to do so. It's not an action we can take at the city level. It's an action that would have to take place at the county level. Earlier this month, the county held a work session on it and invited the mayors and city managers to participate. Cities also, the mayors helped arrange for a briefing with the Wasatch Front Regional Council and the League of Cities and Towns staff to understand some of the changes that have taken place with the fifth over the years. In dealing with sales tax, there's often all of these fun little descriptors and acronyms about the fourth quarter and the third quarter and different ways in which they can be used, certain restrictions the legislature has placed on them. The fifth has undergone some legislative changes since its original enactment. Right now, Davis County is the only one of the Wasatch counties that has not adopted this, and there are some important changes that, if enacted, would flow some of the funds through to cities. And I've forwarded to all of you some of those briefing materials so that you could have them and so that you could review them. We are, of course, all aware of budget constraints that we experience at the municipal level in terms of transportation from our local needs, whether it's just staying on top of basic road maintenance, which, by the way, is not to say that I don't think our streets team does not do a fabulous job since they're here with us tonight. But I'm confident they could do even more to stay on top of some of those issues. But we have some known challenges that are on our capital projects fund. The Davis Boulevard Bridge, the Bamberger Bridge, it's a project of 3 cities. The South Davis Greenway project, just to name a few. And then, of course, there's regional things that we have long been excited about, supportive of, part of our long-term planning strategy, the bus rapid transit for the South Davis connector that is featured in our general plan update and things like that. Some of this fifth, if enacted, might help bring that project finally over the finish line and to fruition in terms of how our residents can get where they want to go, whether it's to connect to Front Runner or to commute into Salt Lake City. I mean, I'm always surprised that anyone wants to leave Bountiful, but then occasionally I do so as well. So there are lots of considerations in this discussion, and because the legislature has now made cities more a part of this discussion than the original iteration of this, it seemed an important update to place on your kind of radar here in terms of council reports as we engage and give feedback to our county commissioners. Gary, have I missed any important updates since you've been part of some of these discussions as well on the 5th that we ought to put on the council's radar?
Just that it's one of the rare circumstances, and you alluded to this, where I think the legislature really listened to the need for local infrastructure dollars and accommodated us by allowing money to come directly back to cities rather than being reallocated through some process by the counties. It's kind of a unique circumstance, and we all know how much abuse our roads get in northern Utah, and this would go a long way to alleviating some of those concerns.
So I would just suggest, council members, if you have questions, if you have feedback, this is a really timely topic right now. And again, it's not one where we have a direct vote, but we do potentially have opportunities to engage in some of the discussions that are taking place at the county level. So if you could get any of that feedback back to me, back to our city manager, since we're sitting at kind of the point of engaging with both the Council of Mayors and the Council of Governments for the county and providing some of that feedback, that would certainly be helpful. And if you have a need for additional feedback or resources, Andrew Gruber and Miranda Cox at Wasatch Front Regional Council, incredibly knowledgeable, excellent resources. And of course, Cameron Dill at the League of Cities and Towns is an excellent resource. And you can learn more about local option sales tax quarters and what they're used for than you might ever have wanted to know by tapping into those resources.
Mayor?
Yes.
Do you know the timing of when some of this is going to be considered or voted upon? Or
It's really up to our county commissioners. They've had a work session. I know they're having some robust discussions about what they may want to do. There is an interesting provision for counties of the second class and tying some of the flexibility for how they can use the portion of funds that flow their way. There's a shot clock that started, and that shot clock has started for us because Weber County has enacted the 5th. And so there's also a consideration of the State Tax Commission will only start collecting and administering sales taxes on quarters, so you can't do it in an in-between time. They like an orderly quarterly. I'm sure you will appreciate this from an accounting background. They like an orderly quarterly start and stops of different things. So
is there another way?
No, there is no other way. So anyway, we would already kind of be short one quarter because of the timing that Weber County has enacted, and so there's probably some pressure to consider it from that perspective, but it's really up to our county friends, and we're lucky and grateful that they engaged us in a work session and have asked for some feedback. So we're in a position where they want to hear from us, and if we have thoughts, we should share them.
Mayor, in your email sharing that information, you mentioned that there has been at least one city that has sent a letter of support to the county.
That is correct. The city of Farmington has sent a letter indicating support to the county. They shared, I think, some very interesting information from their city perspective. As we're familiar, our friends in Farmington are host to Lagoon, which is a significant entertainment facility that attracts a lot of people from outside Farmington and outside Davis County, and they provided a lot of that information. As a sales tax, you pay sales tax where that activity takes place. So if we travel into Salt Lake City to make a purchase, that sales tax is going to stay in Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County. If someone from Salt Lake County travels to and makes a purchase at Lagoon, then we're capturing their revenues. And so we have people who may be engaged in different activities, different purchases, whether they be at car dealerships or recreation opportunities, that are moving as we know, we were all highly mobile along the Wasatch Front. And so we are likely making purchases that are funding the 5th in Utah, Salt Lake, and Weber counties. Those residents of those counties, when they travel here, are not making those same contributions. So anyway, Farmington did send a support letter. They shared it with the county commission and with the other cities. And like I said, it contains, I thought, some very interesting perspectives.
If you think that that would be a good idea for us, I would be supportive of the idea as well, at least of exploring that.
Thank you. If there's any other feedback in that regard, happy to have it now or happy to have it when we have various check-ins and conversations.
Just to clarify, Councilman Higginson, you're referring to drafting a letter of
Yes.
support? Thanks. I would agree.
Just so that it's, so that it's publicly known that if we are supportive, that we are. And maybe in so doing, provide, it's an ugly phrase, but provide some political cover for folks that have to kind of put their necks on the line in order to authorize that for us. So, thanks.
I believe I'm supportive as well.
Okay.
Me too, if we're looking for support.
Well, I do have a calm meeting tomorrow night with the other mayors, and so it's always handy to have feedback that I can share. So,
You need to write my name on there too.
sure am.
Okay.
Okay. Just making notes as I go. You know, the fun of sharing while also taking notes. Making it all happen. Okay, that concludes my council report, and I will provide feedback from the meeting with the other mayors at the COM meeting tomorrow. Next on our agenda is to consider approval of the expenditures greater than $1,000 paid on July 8th, July 15th, July 22nd, and July 29th, as well as the June 2026 financial report. Has the council had an opportunity to review those items, and is anyone prepared to make a motion at this time?
Mayor, if there's no comments, I'm happy to make a motion that we approve the expenditures and financial report as printed.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the expenditures and the financial report from Councilmember Segura-Barr, and a second from Councilmember Child. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, moving on our agenda, we will consider the approval for the architectural and site plan review for Alpha Graphics located at 1579 North Main Street. And Amber Corbridge, our senior planner, is going to be presenting on this item.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and council members. So this first item, the final and architectural site plan review, is for a new Alpha Graphics proposed at 1579 North Main Street, also part of the Village on Main development. So currently it's vacant, so the proposed space will have a new structure, some parking spaces, and some new landscaping. There's elevations of the proposal in the packet. The Planning Commission did review this application July 21st, 2026, and forwarded a positive recommendation with conditions that I'll go over in a minute. The discussion at the meeting covered a couple items that I wanted to go over. First, the lighting that was proposed was discussed, and it had issues meeting the code, so the applicants changed what they're going to propose for light fixtures. And so as part of our condition of approval, we just stated that it would need to meet the current code requirements with height and downward lighting. So that's a change that happened in that meeting. Also, there was discussion regarding there were two recommendations from the commission that aren't code requirements. So that's going to be mentioned in a minute, but they wanted to add more landscaping to the corner of, Main and Pages. So they recommended removing 3 to 4 parking spaces and include more landscaping there to provide a more inviting entrance to the corner. Also, the other recommendation, which is not a requirement, but they wanted the applicant to consider including a street-facing entrance on the north side of the building. So with that, the Planning Commission and staff recommends that the City Council review this request and subject to, 1, that the applicant demonstrates compliance with exterior lighting requirements of the Bountiful Land Use Code. 2, the proposed monument sign shall comply with the applicable standards of the Bountiful Land Use Code prior to issuance of a sign permit. And 3 and 4, the applicant shall comply with remaining staff review comments. 4, consider removing 3 to 4 parking stalls on the northeast corner of the property and replace with landscaping. And 5, consider including a street-facing entrance on the north side of the building. Any questions for staff?
Amber, I do have one question for you.
Okay.
Before we turn to the council. The removal of the 3 to 4 parking stalls, that would still leave plenty of parking within the complex based on either a parking study or the total that's needed? Okay.
Yes.
And if I may add something real quick, even though they use the word recommend, they use the word as a consideration many times. So the appropriate word that should have been used with that motion was a friendly suggestion. And that's why it's not an official recommendation on that staff is providing.
Thank you.
So does that mean they don't have to do it?
So it's a helpful nudge. Got it. Councilmembers, do we have any additional questions for Amber?
Just one question on point 5. Putting in that north entrance, wouldn't the entrance between the dental office and this count as the north entrance already? Or are you looking for it to be like?
They want it facing the street.
No, but they're talking about
Oh.
entrance to the building, not
To
the
the
parking.
Entrance to
building.
the building?
You got it.
Yes. Yeah, that should have been clarified, but yes.
So my question is actually, I'm sorry if you're finished.
No, that's,
What is the point to having the 2 entrances to the building? One on, I'm assuming, just from looking at the plans, there's one on the north and then one facing south. Am I looking at this correctly?
Yeah, so the one currently is facing south. They want one, I guess, facing,
Excuse me, west.
Facing interior to the parking structure.
Yeah, so
Correct.
there's one
Parking lot.
facing west and then there's one facing north. So my question is, what was the planning commissioning, excuse me, planning commission?
the friendly suggestion
Friendly
was to
suggestion.
put another entrance on Main Street, on actually Main Street. So that would be facing west, looking at it from the east. Which, by the way, we do have such requirement in the downtown zone, but not in the mixed-use area.
So wouldn't that be facing east, not
Yes.
north?
east side of the building, you
Correct.
want an entrance.
That was a friendly
And then they have an
suggestion.
entrance on the south side of the building.
Right.
Okay.
That was a friendly suggestion. As
So-
currently
so-
proposed, it complies with the code.
No, so my question is the point of having it on the north side of the building. That doesn't face Main Street.
Pages.
Am I disoriented?
Pages Lane
Yes, so
is
that's.
north,
Yes.
so they wanted an entrance, I believe, on Pages.
No, they wanted it on
Oh,
Main.
they wanted it on Main?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
It was on Main.
okay, so, just so we're all clear, so point 5 that has the suggestion that it faces north
So it should be east.
should be
Yeah.
east. Okay, now I'm oriented. Okay, thank you.
I have another question for staff along those lines. That development has some slope to it. So where the Arctic Circle is, for instance, there's kind of a bit of a retaining wall and then it kind of slopes down. Would there be any type of a slope or retaining issue to require, or I'm sorry, since this is not a requirement, to suggest an entrance on the east side? Because that could be kind of an expensive suggestion if you're having an east side entrance while also potentially dealing with a retaining wall. And just because of the way the south portion of those commercial businesses on that same block all have some of that retaining.
I don't believe so, and Lloyd can jump in if he wants, but there is a sidewalk proposed already right there on that side of the building that's adjacent to the parking spaces. Do you have
I just
anything?
want to say, I don't have my cheaters, but I don't see a retaining wall on that side currently.
By there.
Right. It's flatter.
Closer to Arctic Circle.
Mayor, I have one quick one too. Unless you're- if
Let's
you-
get
are
all
you-
the
are
questions.
you
No,
done?
that was, I'm done, maybe. We'll see.
Mine's really
But let's
quick.
go to yours.
I'm excited. I'm pleased that we're here and this is about to happen, I hope. But I do have a quick question on it. I was interested that the Planning Commission, it was 5-1. If it is easy to summarize why one would be opposed, I would love to know that.
There was confusion in that the word recommendation was used in the motion with the heavy use of consideration. So Beverly didn't necessarily agree with the word a recommendation. And it wasn't clarified, and they took the vote. So they simply moved on. Later in that meeting, after the item, Beverly indicated that she wasn't against the project in any way, shape, or form. She just didn't like the wording of the motion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Amber.
Okay.
Any additional questions? So just to clarify, these are suggestions in terms of, so there's requirements with regard to the exterior lighting, and a requirement related to the monument sign. But items 3, which is about parking stalls, and item 5, which is about a second entrance, those are friendly suggestions.
Yes, 4 and 5.
3 is just remaining staff comments, so that would be required.
That's your kind of your catch-all.
Yeah, just in case there's anything.
If helpful, we'll be more than happy to remove what's listed as 4 and 5, and we'll share that friendly suggestion with them.
Maybe we'll leave that to the council. I just wanted to make sure we had the clarification that
We're
somewhere-
completely comfortable if somebody were to make a motion as such.
Okay. Council members, any further questions or clarifications you want to make? Is anyone prepared to make a motion on this item and with regard to the recommendations?
I'll be happy to make a motion, Mayor. We grant final architectural and site plan approval for Alpha Graphics of 1579 North Main with the 3 requirements from staff and with 2 other additional very gentle suggestions that the builder can either consider or not.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Higginson and a second from Councilmember Murray that was lovely in its phrasing. So any additional comments from the council? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, look forward to the conveying of the very gentle suggestions for the new Alpha Graphics. Moving on our agenda is to consider the architectural and site plan review for the Bountiful Library Branch remodel located at 725 South Main Street. We'll again turn to Amber Corbridge for discussion, and note that we have a contingency of friends from the county and from the library who are probably able to answer any additional questions and/or are just as excited as we are to see this project moving forward. Take
Okay.
it away for us, Amber.
All right. So this is a request to remodel the library in Bountiful at 725 South Main Street. This building requires some upgrades to the building, architecture, landscaping, access features, et cetera. So this is an improvement, of course, and the Planning Commission did review this August 4th, 2026, and forwarded a positive recommendation. This one was pretty straightforward. It met all of the code requirements. It meets the general plan and objectives. And so we're here to answer any questions, but the recommendation tonight is that the City Council review the final architectural and site plan application for the library remodel at 725 South Main Street and approve subject to meeting staff review comments. Any questions?
Councilmembers, any questions? I see that Councilmember Murray is ready to.
Just one friendly suggestion.
I feel like the team that would be best positioned to receive any friendly suggestions is located over here, and they're ready.
Okay, on page 96, that picture, I didn't see, and this is the friendly suggestion, a possible location for a small coffee shop.
It was.
It's a visit to Park City. I remember going to the Park City Library, has something out on the patio where it looked like it would be a great opportunity for us.
Mayor, one quick comment. Throughout this process, I have aggressively tried to have a friendly recommendation for a donut shop. They've been so nice and that they've indicated that they're not going to be accommodating it at this time. But I've been aggressively trying to get that.
Glaze would ruin the book, but a drink is different.
Oh, yeah, a drink would be great.
Every meeting I've had with them, I've asked for the coffee shop.
I am just grateful that that the county library team are our friends, and so they will enjoy the spirit and the tenor with which we conduct our meetings, and that we are so excited about this important building for Bountiful, where I know many of us have spent many happy hours studying and reading books, that we're just really excited about it, and that anything they can do to enhance its use for our residents and make it a true gathering and community spot, we're really in favor of.
Mayor, it's a very high-level question, and I am excited.
Does it involve glazing or
No,
beverages?
I'm just not that clever.
Okay, please go ahead.
So, I am curious to know, I'm looking at the pictures of the building. What is the square footage, just out of curiosity, of the old, and what is the square footage of the new? Just out of curiosity. Do we know?
Amber, do you
Somebody
want
back
to
there
invite
probably
any of
knows.
our county friends to join you to help answer the question?
From what I understood, we weren't changing the square footage of the building, and what triggered the site plan review was the the circulation of the site. In
Yeah.
that the book drop-off area was changing, and also they're closing a access on Main Street, and that's what triggered the site plan. If that's the bottom of the question.
Yeah, I think that's.
Is this
yeah,
correct? I'm looking at the architect.
I was just a little.
You can see
I
it
am
in the
wrong.
demo plan too.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind just joining us at the podium, and then if you wouldn't mind just giving us your name so that
It's not.
our fabulous listening audience will know who's speaking.
Sure. I'm Trent Smith. I'm the architect of the project. So to answer your question, we actually pulled back a small portion of the existing square footage to create. So on the back, if you look at slide on your deck, let me go. So I guess it's best to see on slide 96. So you can see the plaza down below, the back patio deck, and then just to the left, kind of top left corner of that rendering. Another place to view it is again on the left-hand side of slide 95 at the bottom image. So what we actually did is, because the building doesn't have any insulation, one of the things we're doing is we need to insulate the building. Everyone loves the brick and being able to see the brick. So what we did is on this back corner, we create what we're calling a back porch. And we're actually pulling back the envelope to create a large glass opening, but also leave a moment where you can see brick both inside and out, and so that you kind of keep that feeling for the interior, whereas the interior going forward will be fully insulated, drywalled, in order to fully insulate this building. So we actually reduced the square footage.
Reduced it, okay.
Just a tiny bit. It's reduced by like 1,000 square feet or so.
Okay.
So the original square footage is sitting right at about 24,000 square feet. And I think we end up with like 22.6 at the end of the day.
It sounds like from reading the report that was from staff that many were quite involved, that are currently involved at the library and all that was approved, so it must have not lost functionality and losing that space, but gained. The last part of my question is, it doesn't sound like, it's really hard for me to read because these are so small, the drawings, but there will be no Main Street access to the library, is that true?
So it was actually a request by the engineering team to we have a driveway, a one-way driveway today, that everyone has gone the wrong way and poses an issue. So one of the things, and it's also a fairly unsafe driveway because it creates an extra intersection that's not necessarily needed right there. So the idea is funnel the traffic
All the way around, okay.
around so that you don't, because there's also a crosswalk right there, so we're trying to reduce the amount of vehicular and pedestrian overlap.
And I guess it wouldn't make sense to do the Main Street access just pedestrian, like we talked about on the other. Yeah,
Another friendly suggestion.
yeah, another friendly suggestion.
Well, the idea, so because of the grade, so we are actually, as part of this rework, we're creating kind of a grand walkway, so a wider sidewalk off of Main Street all the way to the front door. And that's the goal.
We're excited about it, despite my questions,
Likewise.
but
Yeah.
thank you.
That's what we're
Thank
here
you.
for.
Thank you so much. Commissioner, please come join us, Commissioner Kamalu. While you're coming up, we appreciate that your staff is entertaining our friendly suggestions.
Well, yeah, that's why I thought I'd say something. Number one, thank you for being such a great city and a great mayor and council that I personally am super thankful for. But yeah, you've got like a whole row of supporters here, which, you know, if there are other questions, so Trent's the architect, Josh Johnson is the library director for the system in the county, and then Lane Rose is the facilities director for Davis County. And then we have Lynette, who's a deputy director and has a ton of, in the library, lots of experience building buildings by this time, right, Lynette? And then Carolyn is the branch manager in Bountiful. You've been there how long, Carolyn? Long?
A little over 10 years.
Yeah. You know, and just that love of the Bountiful Library, particularly in every little nook and cranny and smell. So, yeah, just, I think we're going to have a lot better smell.
We appreciate that you were addressing that.
So I know it's been a very long time coming, a lot of efforts, county side, Bountiful City side. It's, you know, taken a while, but sometimes when you take time up front, that's the time to take the time, right? Rather than later on, try to figure it out. So, yeah, I'm just so proud of the team over here. And you, we're very excited, super excited.
Thank you for taking a minute to introduce your team. I think I speak for the entire council where we say thank you for finding a way to still have a library presence in Bountiful. The Twig has been a fun addition to Main Street. You may find yourself with a problem where you need to still maintain like a secondary Bountiful branch that's still a Twig because it has become quite popular with our residents. They enjoy it. We are all looking forward to this. I know I spent lots of hours at this library as a kid. I think the architect called it a moment. If with the right moment on the back patio with beverages and glazing, I expect to spend many, many more happy moments at the library. And I was also happy to see that there'll be some work done to preserve the trees in the back. We've had some residents that are a little worried about their drought stressing. We appreciate that you have acknowledged that and are going to come up with a plan. Because these renderings of the back patio and the access to the creek and the trees are going to make this, I think, a really popular spot. So with that, let's return back to Amber. Amber, do you have any final directives for us in terms of briefing that you'd like us to have and any additional questions from the council before final action?
I don't have anything else to add, but I'm happy to answer any more questions.
I do have a question.
Go ahead, Councilmember Scarborough.
I love looking at, and this is probably more of a question for the architect. I'm curious to know, I love all the windows on the back of the building, and I'm curious to know, aside if there's any possibility to widen the front of the windows on Main Street, or does that just completely ruin? Oh, we lost him. Where'd he go?
Oh, he's right there.
Oh, you're right there. Hello.
You didn't lose me. So west-facing sun is really bad for books, extremely bad. And there's no really good way to shield from west-facing sun.
Okay.
It's direct at you.
Okay.
And so one of the things that we actually have been trying to be very sensitive to is keeping the Main Street look of that building similar historically
What it was.
to what it was.
Okay, I'll just sit in the back of the library then. No, it's still
You
beautiful.
can join me
It's
on the
very,
patio.
Yeah, I'll join you in the patio. It's very, very beautiful. Just was curious to know the reasoning behind that. So when residents do ask, because I would ask.
Just to that point.
If you wouldn't mind coming back up.
Sure. So to that point, if you look at slide 107, you will see the furniture layout. And so one of the things that we've got directly west facing are the stacks. So we've turned them so that light will go through, not directly on the books. But we've organized all the seating areas towards windows
Oh,
so
that's
that you can
beautiful.
enjoy that.
Oh, yeah.
Very lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Council members, any additional questions or feedback? Or are we prepared to make a motion with regard to the architectural and site plan review?
I'm happy to make a motion if there's no other discussion. I
think we're ready.
propose that we approve the architectural and site plan review for the Bountiful Library remodel located at 725 South Main Street.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Councilmember Segura Bar to approve the architectural and site plan review, and a second from Councilmember Bell. Seeing no further discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
May I add a hip hip hooray?
I think we're ready. Hip hip hooray.
Hip hip hooray. Thank you.
Thank you to our county friends. You can tell we're excited about your project, and it plays a big role in our community. We look forward to celebrating its grand opening, perhaps on the plaza, perhaps with donuts, perhaps with coffee. It will fulfill my dream of a dog walking coffee bookshop if we could pull this off. And so with that, we will move on to the next item on our agenda.
Thanks, Amber.
I am certain that with all of the discussion we've had, that our Assistant Chief David Gill is really excited for the presentation that he has for the purchase of 4 new police vehicles.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I feel a little bit underprepared as I don't have any friendly suggestions or anything like that. It's just a boring,
We're
not done yet.
regular.
They could get
fair
named.
enough.
They could get named.
Come before you tonight to request your approval for, it's actually 5, as in your staff report, it's noted. It says 4 on the agenda, but it's actually 5 police vehicles. These 5 vehicles are as follows. 2 Dodge Durangos assigned to the Patrol Division, the amount of $41,081 each. 1 Chevy Traverse assigned to the Detective Division in the amount of $38,542. 1 Ford F-150 assigned to the Patrol Division in the amount of $51,130. And 1 BMW motorcycle R1300 for the Patrol Division in the amount of $36,491. All these vehicles, or the first 4 vehicles, will be purchased from the Young Automotive Group, which is on the state contract bidding. So no other bids were obtained, and the motorcycle will be purchased from Eurosports Utah, also on the state contract pricing for bidding. As we purchase those, with your approval, we'll be selling 4 vehicles from our fleet: a 2018 Ford Expedition with 88,000 miles, a 2018 Ford F-150 with 99,000 miles, a 2021 Dodge Charger with 92,000 miles, and a 2021 Dodge Charger with 100,000 miles. As part of this, we are proposing that we retain our current 2016 BMW R1250 motorcycle. The justification for that is as officers are training on their motorcycles and go to motors class, that places significant wear and tear on the motorcycles, occasionally resulting in damage from their training. It's a quite strenuous and difficult training 2-week class that they go through. We reached out to our vendor, J.J. Kane, that we go through to auction off our police vehicles, and found that the value of our current vehicle is between $2,000 and $3,000. So our proposal is to retain that 2016 and use it as a training motorcycle, to be able to upfit it with additional protective equipment to prevent any damage to our new motorcycle, or resulting in both financial costs as well as downtime to the operable motorcycles that we have out for our officers. Funding for these vehicles was in our 2027 budget as well as the 10-year capital plan. So I respectfully request your approval to purchase these 5 vehicles in the amount of $208,325.79, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Council members, do we have any questions for our Assistant Chief?
I do have one, Assistant Chief Gill, if I could. What are the additional safety features you might outfit this training motorcycle with?
Sure, great question. So as part of the normal motorcycles you see, they have all the plastic cowling and fairing as well as saddlebags. So those are removed, and big metal braces are actually bolted onto the frame so that if the bike is laid down on the side, it actually hits those braces before it actually damages anything. They're quite bulky, so they're not practical necessarily for normal use, but they do provide a layer of protection that we would install on that for training purposes.
Awesome, thank you. I pictured training wheels, and your explanation was much better.
I also was picturing training wheels, but I didn't want to say anything. But at the same time, that's been the mood of the council meeting tonight, so.
Absolutely.
Any additional questions for our Assistant Chief?
I just have a quick question for curiosity's sake. When we sell these vehicles, do they go to auction, or are they being traded in?
They go to auction.
Okay, thank you.
One last question. Which department drives the minivans? I noticed that recently, that there were undercover minivans, which was surprising.
I do not know.
Okay.
Not ours and not any around here that I'm aware of.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, good.
We wouldn't want to reveal the.
Just need to know what I'm watching out for these days.
We wouldn't want to reveal the deep cover of whichever agency is using the minivan as cover for their work. I'm certain it's closely guarded information. With that, council members, are we prepared to make a motion on these vehicle purchases?
Mayor, I'm happy to make a motion that we approve the purchase of the 5 vehicles and the retention of the existing motorcycle for the sums that are printed.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Higginson and a second from Councilmember Murray related to the vehicle purchases. Seeing no further discussion, and you're lucky, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It looks like it passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Brock Hill, it is your turn on our agenda for consideration of the purchase of 2 crew work trucks from Young Ford in the total amount of $119,750.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. I appreciate your time tonight. I bring before you a purchase of a couple work trucks, one that will be used in the Parks Department and one that will be used in the Government Buildings Department. The Parks and Government Buildings Department, we rely heavily on those vehicles, of course, to do our daily maintenance and building maintenance responsibilities. The one truck that's coming out of the Buildings Department is being replaced, so that one will go to auction. This isn't part of your staff report, but I did, now that Officer Gill shared his intention, I thought I'd better share ours as well. This will replace his one truck. It is a 2015 Dodge 2500 panel truck that's reached its age limit, and we're starting to find a lot of issues with that. So that will go to auction as a replacement. The Parks truck, the F-150 in the Parks Department, will also replace one of our older vehicles. That's a 2009 Dodge panel truck as well. So those both will go to auction. We'll get what we can out of those. We did seek quotes from Young Automotive Group. They are the state contract holder for Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, and we asked them to find whatever trucks were available because currently there's a low inventory for all of those vehicles in the type that we're looking for. The fleet type trucks that we use, they're kind of a low end, just a truck that gets us around town that we can do our work with. There are limited vehicles in those inventories. So the 2 that they were able to find for us that matched our needs are Ford F-150s. and each truck cost $59,875 as per their state contract bid. Like I said, one truck will be used in the Parks Department. It is budgeted for in this year's capital equipment budget, and there are sufficient funds to cover this purchase. The other work truck is budgeted for in this year's government buildings capital equipment budget, and there are sufficient funds also in that one, in that fund to cover this purchase. Staff recommends the council approve the purchase of one Ford F-250, a 2026 Ford F-150, 4x4 four-door work truck for the Parks Department in the amount of $59,875, and one 2026 Ford F-150 4x4 four-door crew work truck for the Government Buildings Department. Now, the work truck for the Government Buildings Department also will require some work boxes. We haven't been able to secure bids on what those look like or what those costs are going to be, but there will be remaining funds in that capital equipment budget to cover any future costs there. So just as a side note. And I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions for our Parks Director on these work trucks?
Mayor, I don't have a question on the work trucks, but I have another question that I'd like to ask after we take a vote on the work trucks, if that's okay with you.
That's fine with me. We'll ask Mr. Hill to hang around for a second after someone hopefully makes a motion.
Mayor, I'm happy to make a motion that we approve the purchase of 2 crew work trucks from Young Ford in the total of $119,750.
Second.
We have a motion from Segura Bar to approve the purchase of the 2 work trucks and a second from Councilmember Child. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. And now we're all excited to hear what the question is.
Brock, there are few things in Bountiful that I love more than the London plane trees at the north end of the town square. And right now, most of those trees are in survival mode, budding out of their trunks and trying to survive. Are they savable?
They are savable. We have an arborist who's working on a plan for us for those trees, yes.
Okay.
We've had some recent work done on them as well to try to prune the dead out of them.
Yeah, they took quite a bit out. I sat and watched for a while.
Yeah, it's kind of scary to watch, but we are trying to develop a plan that will help manage that.
Awesome. So there's hope.
There is. Yep,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Those of us who have also struggled recently with survival appreciate their struggle for survival and hope they succeed.
Yeah, very much. Hopefully we'll get a winter where we can rebound from some of that stuff.
Beautiful. Thanks.
And, yes, and just one more note too. I can't take credit for all of the work that was done during handcart days and all of the special events that have been handing out. I have to give credit to my staff. They work endless and tireless hours, and so I have to recognize them in that process. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brock. Summer season is the busy season for your team. We see them all over, taking care of parks, taking care of trash cans, cleaning up, setting up. So our thanks to them for all of the great work they do in their busy season.
Amen.
And to you for leading them.
Mayor, thanks for indulging the extra question.
That was a good question. I'm glad that you asked it so that we could all hear that answer. Next, we'll move to the consider approval of the purchase of a variable frequency device from Codell Electric by Mr. Alan Johnson. While Alan's coming up, we'll just note we appreciate all of the work your team has also been doing to coordinate on the Echo power line, and we know that it's resulted in some extra work to assist there and do what we can to
Thank you, Mayor.
protect that line.
And I will say that our city manager asked if you had a minute to give you just a quick update of where we are and what was going on, if you have a minute afterwards, so, yeah.
I think the council would be interested. Let's do the purchase first, and then if you wouldn't mind, I think we'd all love to hear what you know about what's happening there.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor and Council, where I'm here tonight is for a variable frequency drive. What this is this is the starter motor for our Taurus generator, our 4 megawatt generator. And what this really does is when you go to start it, it starts it slow and spins it up to speed. And then they can put natural gas in and excuse me, fire it off and it'll keep going. The other thing it does is when you're running it, it's several thousand degrees in there. If you just shut it off, the weight of it will cause the shaft to settle. So what they do is when they shut it off, they'll continue to let it slow roll for about 4 hours and let the heat come out of it so the shaft stays straight. So this is not only starts it, but it's used in shutting it down. Of course, this is not great timing in summer when we do need it to be covering the high loads on our peaking. So as we came back in here, as it did fail on this particular item, we did talk to the city manager and we did purchase it in here under his authority. So we're coming back now to ratify that purchase as per our code. So we did purchase this variable frequency drive from Allen Bradley for the price of $25,884. So we're here to ratify basically the purchase that we've already made and installed on this unit as per the city requirements. So, and we do have money in our plant account, not necessarily identified for this, but for unknown failures as we have through the years. So.
Mayor, I'm happy to make a motion if you're ready.
I don't see any questions, so we'll entertain the motion. Thank you.
I am happy to make a motion to ratify the purchase of the variable frequency drive for the Taurus generator for $25,884.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Bell, a second from Councilmember Murray. Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We'd love to hear your update on the power line.
Would I be able to get the screen?
I'm knocking on wood. Just so you know.
A London plane tree wood?
Yeah.
Oh, no. If it actually works, it'll be the only reason.
Is it me that's?
Hey, who's that gal?
It's acting like it's connected.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah.
All righty, this is basically a map that a little bit better than the one that I put together for the city manager. Luke and his GIS guy, Hafid, put this together. They actually contacted the fire group and got what they call their aerial map of what the fire actually is up there. And then we've inputted that onto our GIS system. So as you look at the area in the red is the fire. I thought maybe you could see my pointer, but it's not going to. Over here on the lower right-hand corner is where the fire actually started. The unofficial version that we have been told is it was from a car fire that they thought was out that got away. So, I mean, it's telling you how volatile it was. The fire actually burned towards the top of the screen and back around. So initially, we only had about 10 poles that was affected by it. As you come back in, the weather came in, winds came back, and it brought it back down and brought the flames down to where you can see where the East Canyon Reservoir is there towards the bottom. And actually to save it, the fire department actually had to do backburn and start fires by East Canyon to burn back up. Well, unfortunately, our power line was stuck in the middle of it, so what we thought we had gotten away, it burned back onto it. So this area from the lower left-hand corner over to where the little yellow squiggly line is, and we'll talk more about that yellow squiggly line in a minute, is really totally burned up. There's roughly 48 structures. By structure, that's pole placements, but a lot of them have 3 poles. So we got close to 60 poles through that certain area there. Yesterday, over here on the right-hand side where you see the red came back in, we've got another, we haven't been there, 6 to 10 poles from what we're understanding. And this was as of earlier this afternoon. So essentially, we got roughly 70 poles that we know of that have been burned. The latest thing that we have got from Talk to Incident Command was that the fire and the winds are starting to stop, and they think they're going to be able to hold the fire right there at Franklin County, or Canyon, excuse me, which is there on the left-hand side. So this is the magnitude of it. Up on the top end, on the very top is what up by Hannaford, which is really one of the areas that they're concerned about, that they mentioned on the news tonight, that they're a little bit concerned about it toppling over and actually dropping down into Morgan. So that's what we picked up on the report. So anyway, you can see where the magnitude of the fire is at this point. We get this updated map whenever they do an aerial search, and we don't know exactly. Sometimes they'll do it at night, sometimes in the morning. But this one was as of sometime early this afternoon. But to show you how bad, well, let me take it back. Where this yellow squiggly line is where the highway that goes from Hannaford to East Canyon. And we had damaged poles on the other side, and we did have to cut the wires down. And I got just a little video to show you what really happened was they cut them down. But we had to isolate the line because they were afraid. This is, as the fire people are working, that's their emergency access, and they didn't want that falling down on top of them. So. Again, looking at, these are some of the poles, and you can see over on the right where it's burned the pole almost all the way through. These are a lot of the 3-pole structures like we're talking about. There's a lot of this area that's like East Canyon that's fairly truck accessible, but there's other stuff that is, I won't call it cliffs, but it's fairly steep terrain that they initially set them with helicopters, a lot of that work. But again, you can kind of see looking up into there where it's burnt, where the poles are burnt as they come back through it. Again, some of them are just totally gone, laying on the ground. But this is one of the ones that this is actually that pole where the squiggly line is. So we'd be looking over towards the west. East side of the line has not burned, but this one is where the fire has gone through. And you just see a video as they are taking the tension to drop the wires down. And you just kind of watch and see as it goes. You can see the pole's still on fire. And they've been dropping the tension of the wires are on the ground as they let the last tension off here. You can just see that just... So it's like I say, it's a lot of the lines up there, and that's what we'll be running into. And you can see where they had to work to drop it off the other side. So.
And Alan, these are our Bountiful Power crew that are up there doing that line drop? Or?
We had some of our crews there, but we do have Cache Valley that coincidentally was starting to work on that phase that we had pre-approved, and they were there. So it was convenient for them to say, hey, guys, can you run around here and help us once we saw what it was. So we had a combination of our people and the contractor that was dropping that line.
It's amazing what circumstances like that will do to help everyone just pitch in and do hard jobs.
And again, that was sort of a short up thing of where we was at this point. But like I say, we'll have more discussion to come, obviously, as time goes on. But
council members, we have Chief Larson here, and since we've heard a little bit about our power fire, I wonder if he might be willing to just tell us a little bit about the crews that we've sent up to assist while we're just taking a slight diversion. Chief, I'm slightly sorry to put you on the spot, but I'm more happy to maybe shed some light on the people that we are sending up to help.
Yeah, so thank you, Mayor, and anytime I'm happy to come up. So Saturday afternoon, I received the first phone call for requests for service from the fire warden from the state that was covering both Weber County, Davis County, Salt Lake County, and Morgan County. He is stationed in Morgan. Our fire warden had already been deployed down to Fillmore on a bulldozer crew. So James Wilson reached out to me and asked me if we had any resources that we could send them. So we started to mobilize some of our wildland guys and send a crew of 3 on Saturday night. They worked throughout the night and got back on Sunday about 6:30 or 7, and were active in fire and helping with the back burn. So the philosophy and theory behind the back burning process is you set up a robust fire line, you ignite the light fuels that have not burnt with the intention to burn them into the area that's already burning. and that slows the overall progression of the fire for forward movement. So that's the whole idea and the strategy behind the backburns. So then the request came back through on Sunday afternoon in two different forms. One came through James Wilson directly to me, if any resources that we could send. They anticipated between 45 mile an hour and 50 mile an hour winds pushing the fire towards Hennifer. And so they were looking for specifically structural protection. And so in conjunction with that request, the Davis County Fire Chiefs all received a text message of a request from the Incident Command asking for any type of a structural task force that we could send. So a combination of the departments, including our new water tender, was sent up, and a total of 25 personnel. That night they were in staging. Unfortunately, they weren't utilized to their full extent of their capabilities that night. And then Monday night, the additional request came in. We set another crew with the water tender as well, and they were actively involved with both structural protection and additionally with backburning as well in major operations. So currently, the update I had from today, a couple hours ago, we still have crews up there tonight. Crews were returning back tonight. In addition, we have one of our captains that is complementing a state team that has been assigned, pre-positioned in Box Elder County and have deployed on, I believe this is the fifth fire as an initial attack as a state resource. They were up there, and he is being released tomorrow. And then we have an additional firefighter that's been complementing Layton's team in eastern Washington. If you've watched the news and have seen what's going on in Washington, so I'm excited to hear his stories when he arrives back in town tomorrow. But with that being said, there's a significant concern tonight about the fire pushing north-northeast, and then it's flanking around south-southeast as well over towards, is it Lewis or Lewiston Peak? Lewiston Peak. So that was their concern. In talking with our fire marshal, who's over the comms, the communications up there for the Type 3 team, they're trying to transition it to a Type 1 team to just have additional resources. I'm not sure the progression of that, but they're confident in their fire lines. The problem is when the wind comes up, the amber cast is so significant, they've had them up to 2 miles away where they're seeing spot fires because of the volatility of the conditions of of what they're seeing. So with that being said, I hope that was okay. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have anything about our deployment or our assistance. Our crews have been working the last 2 nights from 7 p.m. until they get released about 7 or 8 in the morning, and then they're back down here about 8:30 or 9. So that's what we've been sending them. And then we've been sending them what we call or classify as our Type 3 engine, which is our wildland 4-wheel drive capability fire engine. And every morning I receive feedback that how grateful they are, and they're just begging for help right now up on that fire. So the conditions are super, very, very volatile. So, yeah.
Thank you, Chief. Council members, in serving on the fire board, I get to receive some of these updates, and I've heard some of these, and I thought you would all find it interesting to hear directly from the chief on some of those issues, and just to know that in the past, Bountiful has been the recipient of aid from others coming to help when we've had fires. It's our opportunity to help our fellow Utahns in other places, and just to know that we are, and that while the crews are out and in harm's way, that they stay in our thoughts and prayers. So if there are any questions for the chief, quickly feel free to ask them. Otherwise, we'll return to our rest of our agenda. Please let the crews know that they're definitely in our thoughts and prayers.
And I want to echo the last thing I said, was those crews up there are doing a phenomenal job of what they're doing in the country, what they're doing. It's amazing watching these guys that are going out fighting this. So like I said, gotta give them accolades for everything that they're doing up there. So thank you.
Thank you for that update. And Look forward to, I'm sure, future discussions about the Echo line and the 70 poles. Hopefully it stays there. With that, Mr. Cheney, it is your turn to walk us through the 2026 storm drain projects on our agenda tonight.
Thanks, Mayor. The engineering department's put together a bid package to address some of the issues in our storm drain system. We had a couple of projects that were kind of left over from the previous budget year that we wanted to address. The work on Dry Creek, if you know where Kevin Eubank lives, it's immediately south of his house, has been a little bit of a flooding problem at times, but it's been on our list of projects to work on over the years, and we didn't want to let that slide another year, so that project was included in this bid package. We also had a fairly substantial project out at the landfill, which would create a new stormwater retention area that was permitted by the state, and we wanted to be cognizant of that approval and complete that project while the ink was still wet. We also have 3 other projects that are more maintenance type issues that are included in this package. We were very surprised by the pricing that came in. We did include a contingency schedule in Schedule 6, which would allow us to just do some work on some unplanned projects, maybe things that cropped up during the year. But after evaluating the bids, we realized that it probably was a better plan to award the 5 planned projects due to the variation in the pricing that we received. You'll see that MC Green's price for those 5 schedules is significantly lower than 2 of the other competitors that bid on the project. And so that is our recommendation to the council, that we award schedules 1 through 5 for these projects at the bid prices that were submitted by MC Green. Be happy to address any other questions you may have about this contract.
Councilmembers, do we have any questions for our city engineer about this proposal?
I have one on location. So, Lloyd, thanks. On that, the 3 modifications, there's the 2 above, and then there's 3 near the intersection of 400 East and Davis Boulevard. What north-south is that?
That's pretty close to Muir Elementary.
So right there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure
Just a little bit south of Muir.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Any additional questions, council members? If there are no additional questions, is anyone prepared to make a motion?
Happy to make a motion that we award the stormwater contract to MC Green and Sons, awarding schedules 1 through 5, and the contract at the unit price as noted in their bid.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Higginson. We have a second from Councilmember Murray to approve schedules 1 through 5 for the storm drain projects to MC Green and Sons. Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. I have a question that has just come up on agenda item 11. Did we vote agenda item 11?
I made the motion, didn't I?
You did?
Is that on Allen's?
On Allen's.
Yeah, I made the motion. I thought somebody seconded it.
I think it was Councilmember Murray that seconded it.
I'm losing my mind.
Staff is giving us the nod that we did do that before we jumped to the fire update. So with that, then we will move back to item number 13, which is consider approval of the traffic safety recommendations for Main Street, and have our city engineer present those to us. I'm sure that council members Segura Bar and Bell, who serve on the traffic safety committee, might have some color commentary to add to that presentation along the way.
That color commentary would be greatly appreciated. It seems like it's been a minute since the Traffic Safety Committee has met due to whatever
has happened with our calendar and our meeting schedule. It's taken a while to get this to the council. We're all aware of many of the events of earlier in the year, which prompted the meeting of the Traffic Safety Committee. Some very unfortunate accidents in our downtown corridor. As we started to investigate some of the conditions on Main Street, we found ourselves conducting a parallel speed study with the police department. The engineering department had actually set up 2 traffic counters, one at 200 South and one at 200 North, but due to an untimely water leak near 2nd South, that count had to be scrapped. But it was interesting to compare the results from the PD's radar trailer study and our traffic counter study, which was just a couple of weeks later at the same location. I wanted to address some of the concerns one at a time. Like there were a lot of comments about speeding in Main Street, and that was the prompt for having a speed study down there. And I thought it was very interesting that those 2 studies both confirmed that the 85th percentile speed is not unexpectedly high. You know, you would expect on a normal street in any place in town that your speed would be about 5 miles an hour over the posted speed limit, and that's pretty much what we found on Main Street, confirmed by both the PD and the engineering department study. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody drives that speed. There's always a few outliers that want to set a speed record downtown or on any other street, and that's unfortunate. But we were pleased to find that the results are, within expectations. I think it is important to acknowledge that those speeds probably vary up and down the Main Street corridor. When you get to 2nd South, as you're traveling northbound, you're probably going to slow down as you go through the next 2 or 3 blocks just because of it's more active and it feels a little tighter. We haven't done a speed study to really confirm that, but that's on our list to do now that we've progressed through our regularly scheduled traffic counts around town. We now have room in our schedule to do that, and that's going to be a high priority for us this late summer and early fall. Be happy to pass the results of that study along to you. The second part of the study, which was particularly interesting to me, was the accident review between 5th South and 4th North. Of course, we all know that 5th South and 4th North are very busy, and those 2 blocks, immediately adjacent to, I thought it was fair to maybe exclude them from very much review because they're so heavily influenced by what's going on 5th South and 4th North. But in those other blocks, we counted 48 accidents since 2020. Now, I did include a note about some accidents in 2019, that there were another 7 that you could add to that list. So that's pretty much on par with the rate of accidents on Main Street per year. On page 127, there's a table for the mid-block accidents, and really I think that is of the most interest to me as the city engineer, that in those blocks between 200 North and 200 South, we have 22 of 48 accidents in that short stretch. I was surprised at the nature of accidents downtown. I honestly thought that there would be a bigger correlation between angled parking and the accidents that occur down there, but as I dove into these, what I found was accidents are caused by a variety of conditions. Whether it's someone who is suffering from a medical condition or has been to the doctor for some treatment and maybe shouldn't have got behind the wheel that day, to somebody who fell asleep at the wheel, semi-truck driver who maybe got misguided downtown and ended up taking out a street light. But there's a lot of other typical accidents, and those are called failure to yield accidents, where maybe you're approaching through a side street and you don't time it right, and you strike a car headed the other way. So maybe you're at 200 north eastbound, and you hit somebody northbound on Main Street. Left turns and failure to yields are pretty common all around town, and there was quite a few of those in the downtown corridor too. I don't want to bore you with a lot of details about these accidents. I tried to piece together the important parts of the study from the Traffic Safety Committee's discussion. But we did try to address these two conditions with some suggested actions downtown that would help improve the perception of safety. And I want to talk about that for just a minute. It's pretty common for people to drive the speed that they feel safe. That's a phrase that you hear us talk about regularly. But I think there's also a perception from the pedestrians and the merchants downtown that speeds are a little high on Main Street at times. And so the committee was thoughtful about that and wanted to perhaps suggest some actions that could be taken which would help remind drivers what the speed limit is, and also to help reinforce to other users, whether they're pedestrians or cyclists or other drivers, that Main Street is a place that we want to be safe, and we want people to be aware of what's going on. So with that little introduction, I would just turn to the recommendations. And our first recommendation was to paint the speed limit on the street. Now, we have had limited success with that in other parts of town, but we felt that as traffic enters these busier portions of Main Street, that it would be good to remind people very prominently that the speed limit on Main Street is 25. And so the suggestion from the committee is to paint a 25-mile-an-hour message in the northbound lane on Main Street at 200 South and in the southbound lane at 200 North. There's a lane drop at each of these intersections, and as you proceed through them, you change to one lane with angle parking. And so that would be pretty prominent and hopefully very noticeable for motorists. The second suggestion was geared more towards the pedestrians in our mid-block crossings. These crossings, to me, are a little bit obscure. If you're not really watching for them, they sneak up on you. And I think the suggestion to install some of the rectangular rapid flashing beacons is a good move. It is a little bit expensive for what we're talking about here, but I think one of the main things it does is alerts drivers that there are pedestrians who are ready to cross the road when these are flashing, but it also signals to pedestrians that this is the place to cross. That jaywalking across Main Street is not a good idea, and this is the place where we want you to feel safe and to get across the street. We wanted to reinforce that with a little bit different marking in the crosswalk, and I've given you an example of the zebra style markings that we would recommend at those crossings.
Lloyd, could I ask a question while you're on the markings?
Sure.
Zebra versus piano key for schools. What is the difference?
I'm going to call them the piano keys, like you've referenced. Those are reserved for school crossings. And so since these aren't school, we wanted to, emphasize them, but use a little bit different style.
Okay, so the protections that we would normally associate with a school crossing with the piano keys of having crossing guards during school times, things like that. That is not what the zebra style is going to.
That's correct.
include.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, did I throw off the groove?
Nope, you're good. I was just going to say that I'd be happy to answer any other questions about this. We do have a little bit of preliminary pricing for some of these pieces of equipment. That's something that we can refine more if the council decides to move forward with these actions.
I do have a question while we're on the rapid rectangular flashing thingies. Are those signs that will be on constantly, or are those user activated?
They're user activated.
Okay. And how many accidents have we had at these mid-block crosswalks?
I'm not aware of any accidents.
Okay.
Can I, along the lines of what Councilmember Higginson is asking, since we haven't had accidents at the mid-block, but we have had accidents at others, this is a literal signal to residents of cross here for pedestrian safety, and then also as a operator of a vehicle, an extra alert that you should expect a crossing here. This is us trying to guide behavior, even though we haven't necessarily seen accidents at these spots, but we're wanting to avoid accidents that we've seen at other spots by directing people to a safer option. That's why your recommendation is to enhance these areas.
That's correct.
Okay.
So will we be discouraging folks from using the crosswalks at intersections?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
These are just the more active locations, particularly on the south end. You know, we have, of course, Lucky Slice, and we also have a center that serves some people with disabilities in the creative arts area. Of course, creative arts itself draws a pretty big crowd, and it's pretty active.
Mm-hmm.
Councilmembers, do we have any additional questions? And also, I would want to just preserve an opportunity for our traffic safety committee members if they have some color commentary
So
they would like to add.
maybe just a couple, unless Councilwoman Sigar-Barr, do you want to go before me? I don't care.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also on that recommendation, there is the social media campaign. That was number 3, right? That's part of it.
Yep, that's true.
So just as a side note, just clarification too on those mid-block rectangular blinking beacons. If I'm not mistaken, both of those are right at the pop-out structures in the road, right? What do we call those?
Yep, they'd be closest to the I'm going to call it the shoulder of the through lane, right there at that choke point.
So a little visibility, but I guess a couple of thoughts. The mayor and I have spent a fair amount of time at the merchant meeting, and it is true, this is a frequent topic there. And of course, it's been a really a tough summer for some accidents and some tragic things that have happened down there. And there is just this great perception amongst that group of the speeding, and they all can cite probably the one that's not in the 85th percentile that they got to see. And I personally felt that as we continue to develop Main Street, we're not going to get less people down there. And so trying to drive people to the right areas is going to be important, and this is a step. And gosh, we certainly want to use those other crosswalks, but I think there's also a sign here. When somebody pokes that blinking light, when somebody starts across that road, traffic all the way down the street is actually going to see that. So it's going to have an influence on speeds everywhere and people paying attention. And so I was really supportive of this, and the committee was supportive of this, just really for a number of factors. We do recognize this speeding was not the primary thing that's going on there. But we do have a perception problem, and we've had some accidents, and it is time to really try to shore that up, in my view. And I think I won't put words in your mouth, and hopefully you'll share your thoughts. But really appreciate Lloyd and the chief. The studies that they've done, they were conclusive in terms of data gathering. It's all showing the same types of things in terms of speeds, and then really for you, Lloyd, and your staff digging into the accidents and just what was causing that. But I do think some of these will be helpful in the future, and I hope that we'll seriously consider it.
I would only add, thank you, Councilmember Bell, that we felt that the flashing beacons for those crosswalks were at good midpoints along Main Street on either side of the stop light at Center Street, and that it would just alert drivers a little bit more of the area that they're entering, as well as offering pedestrians just a safe place in general to cross if they aren't at those intersections. And I had another thought, but it just floated out of my brain along with that vote that I thought we didn't do. So
That's okay, we can come back
yeah,
if you think of it.
if I think of it, please come back to me. Thank you.
Lloyd, I was curious on the flashing crosswalk beacons. Those are a similar device that we have proposed and received grants for crosswalks on 4th North and 2 on 500 South. One, do you think there would be an opportunity for additional grants to help cover those costs? And 2, what is the expected timeline for installation, since we've got some that are already in the queue?
I could check with the county and see if we have any wiggle room in our grant funding for the other 3 projects, if we can roll that into these 2 locations. I'm not confident that we would get a thumbs up on that, but we might. We are about ready to start on those other 3 projects, and I wanted to wait until we had some direction from the council on these 2 locations before I started to finalize ordering equipment for those other 3 locations. So I think we could make a big order for all of that equipment. The power department does have a concern about being able to supply power to these signs, given some of the complications of our lighting downtown. But we did try to be strategic about where these could be placed. There are existing street lights there now that I am hopeful could power these lights. They're not a huge demand because they're LEDs, but we do have an old system down there, and we're going to make yet another connection to it, possibly for this. But I am confident that we can get it to work one way or another. We seem to have that knack that we always find a way. But yeah, we would get going right away on these, because we're kind of in that mode.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
Yeah, what is the decision point of doing solar versus wired? Because we have the stop sign on 1800 and Bountiful Boulevard. We have that one, I think, is going to be wired, but we have one on 1800 and First East that's solar. It's a flashing one. So how do we make the decision of solar versus power?
The solar options always come with the added maintenance burden of batteries and having batteries in inventory and being able to maintain those. A wired connection is probably more reliable, and since we have power this close on Main Street, I think it makes sense to just wire them up.
Mayor, I remembered my thought.
Oh, please, go. Remind us.
Just one thing that I would like to note, just as we're thinking about Main Street, I think one of the main reasons why the first few blocks, why traffic tends to slow after those first few blocks is because of the angled parking. And so I think as soon as we're rolling out our general plan and things, is when we can make those changes to Main Street. I think that would help with traffic flow in the future.
I'd just like to make one other comment. I live in a city that uses a lot of these, and I mean a lot. And they work. They work pretty good. Now, I might have an opinion about how many my city has. I think it's too many. I think we need to be very careful about where we put these. These can't just become like dandelions, where there's one in everybody's yard. These need to be in places that matter. These need to be in places where it draws people's attention and their cooperation. And I think that the 3 other locations and these 2 downtown are the best candidates we have, really.
Thank you. Councilmember Bell and I had the opportunity to meet with the Main Street merchants last week, because this has been a hot topic for them. They've been very engaged and interested and persistent in wanting to know what was happening and to know that we were reviewing it and taking it seriously. My thanks to both the council members that are serving on it, as well as our staff from the streets department, the engineering, and the police department, for helping us make sure that we make decisions based on really good data. It was, I think, really helpful for us in engaging with that group to help share data-driven decisions versus sometimes an emotional decision, and they have experienced some of that emotion from some of the accidents this year. I also appreciate, the police department has taken up the charge this summer to spend more time on Main Street. As the Main Street merchants were excited to know that this was coming before us and be engaged, we did want to make sure that they were aware that other residents were less excited with enhanced traffic enforcement. And we sometimes hear from those people too, and that it's a balance. Early this morning, I heard from one of our residents that had the very unfortunate, unlucky circumstance to receive traffic enforcement, more than a gentle nudge or suggestion, on back-to-back mornings. So very, very unlucky for that resident. But we had a great discussion about why, and that mitigated some of the frustration of being unlucky in back-to-back citations. But there's always this push and this pull of wanting to make sure that we're thoughtful about a very important corridor, but obviously not too heavy-handed. So I want to just thank the group for trying to make sure that we were finding that balance using data. Are there any additional questions from the council for our team before we consider the 3 recommendations that they have given us?
I don't have any questions, Mayor, but I heartily approve of this. I think this is great, and I hear often from one of the families of one of the accident victims, and I know that this will be a comfort to them. So I appreciate it.
Any additional comments or feedback, or is anyone prepared to make a motion?
Mayor, just because
I was going to say, I see it coming, so come on, let's go.
Look, I was the odd one out in the first discussion of the night. I'll be the odd one out in the last discussion of the night. To me, I don't see any data that supports the mid-block crosswalk flashing signs. None. There's not been an issue. It's embarrassing to me. It's embarrassing how long people wait for me to cross the street every time I walk downtown, which is almost every day. It's uncomfortable how long people will wait for pedestrians. So I'm happy to have this installed if that's the majority opinion of the council, but that one item, I don't think that the data is definitive for me personally. I think that it's a gesture, and that's my speech. And I love everybody here.
As I've said before, I think the the engagement and having the discussions in front of the public is important, so I'm happy,
Yeah.
I'm happy that you feel comfortable sharing that perspective.
Beautiful.
I'm curious if, we have 3 recommendations. Perhaps you or one of your other colleagues who gets to make such motions, would you like it if they were made an individual motion so that you have
No.
the opportunity to support those that you do
No.
support? Okay.
I'll support my council council friends in whatever decision they make.
Okay.
And I think that I have sensed that there's going to be a majority vote at least. So why not make it unanimous?
Okay. Any last comments or questions, or it sounds like at least some of us are ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion. Oh, go ahead, Councilman. I propose that we approve the Traffic Safety Committee recommendations for Main Street as printed.
I will second that.
So we have a motion to approve the recommendations, the 3 recommendations from the Traffic Safety Committee by Councilmember Segura-Bar, and a second by Councilmember Bell. We've had a robust discussion, so unless somebody looks like they really want to comment, we're going to move to voting. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Looks like it passes unanimously.
Beautiful.
And now we'll move to the last item on the agenda, which is the consider approval of ordinance 2026-07, amending Title 5 of the City Code. And this will be presented by our city attorney, Brad Jepson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is something we studied a few weeks ago. We went through the code section by section. I am requesting that we remove or repeal several sections of the code that regulate businesses such as dancing, arcades, other things that we're just not in a position to regulate anymore. The big difference that we have from the study session, you'll see on page 145 of your packet, bodywork services, the 3rd line down. We've added mechanical robot, automated, electronically controlled. This is a burgeoning business. However, if you turn over to the next page on 146, I did exempt basically massage chairs from this. Those have become popular, not only at hair salons and gyms, but they also don't have the same risk that we would have with the type of robotic machines that are kind of becoming that will be coming. So those are the only changes substantial changes. There are a whole bunch of commas and a whole bunch of other things that we've done since the last time, but that's really the only substantial changes. This has been reviewed by our city planner. He deals with this a lot as he is the licensing agent mentioned in this code. It's also been approved by the city manager, and I'm asking the city council to approve the changes and to approve ordinance 2607, amending Title 5, Chapters 1 through 9 of the City Code.
Council members, do we have any questions for Brad about the ordinance as presented?
I do. Mayor? please.
Councilmember Bell.
I thought Brad deserves a couple of questions because we got to hit this one at the very last, and I wouldn't want him to feel bad.
I appreciate that, Councilmember Bell.
I mean, we had such a robust discussion about dancing that it feels like.
Well, this one's, I know it's almost on the ridiculous, so it's not so much about the changes, but about the definition. And I'm just curious, I'm not suggesting anything one way or another, but we define business and engaged in business. So let me give you 3 circumstances and you tell me if of these businesses that require a license. A lemonade stand, somebody selling pets on the side of the road, somebody selling vegetables and or flowers. So those 3, are they businesses and do they require a license?
Councilmember Bell, I believe under our current code, they would require a license, but we're not really in a place to talk about this next. If you look on page 137, title or chapter 12 of our business of this code regulates temporary licensures. Under our current license, you could make the argument that all 3 of those would require a temporary license. Licensing Director Francisco, how many temporary licenses have we issued?
I can recall one in my tenure here.
So, long story is, I do think they fit the definition of business. When we get to Chapter 12, next time we get a free study session, I'm going to ask the City Council to amend that to create exceptions for such things as selling things off KSL, yard sales, lemonade stands, at least periodic, several times a year. So to answer your question, yes, it would, and I'm hoping to fix that in the near future.
Okay. I want it clear, I'm all for lemonade stands.
I take that into consideration as we approach
Yeah.
when we get to Chapter 12.
But I know it's a little bit silly, but I do know, or maybe it's not, I just know that, as I was reading, I was thinking about the different things that people try to do, and I do think there's a de minimis dollar amount or something that I do wonder about some of the other things, like selling pets or, flowers that we see them on the street corners more and more. And that does concern me a little bit, what we have out there and what they're required to do. So I appreciate that we're going to look into it in the future. So that's really all the question I had. So thank you.
I think it is a thoughtful question. I recently had a question on, I think we always think of kids selling lemonade, and perhaps de minimis and, not worthy of considering it an ordinance. But I recently referred one to our city planner about some adult individuals that are handicapped that were wanting to do a lemonade stand. They were going to sell soda rather than lemonade, but same idea, and didn't know where they would fit, and wanted, kind of in that lemonade stand category. So I think it's a decent question for a different section.
Amen.
Any additional questions about amusement devices, robotic massages, or other items contained in this ordinance? Is anyone prepared to make a motion on ordinance 2026-07?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it after that. I'll make a motion to approve staff's, city attorney's recommendation to approve ordinance number 2026-07 as printed.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Bell, a second from Councilmember Higginson, to approve ordinance 2026-07, amending Title 5. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Looks like that passes unanimously. That takes us through our agenda. I appreciate everyone's work tonight and robust discussions and humor in dealing with the work before us.
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
That is a non-debatable motion, so we have a second.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for your work.